Music's strength is not always about adding more. Often it is about removing what drains you. The Stoics were not obsessed with growing power in the way the world defines it. They were concerned with stability, resilience, and clarity. They believed that much of our suffering and weakness comes from habits we tolerate, excuses we make, and comforts we cling to. Their advice was simple. Do not seek strength in appearances. Seek it in your actions. When we speak of weakness in the Stoic sense, we are not judging a person. We are diagnosing a behavior. Weakness is found in what erodes the mind, what disrupts our discipline, and what scatters our focus. A weak person is not someone without muscles or money. It is someone who abandons their principles, avoids responsibility, and fears discomfort. This video is not about shame. It is about awareness. Each chapter will explore a habit that weakens the mind and spirit. These are patterns the Stoics warned against. They rob us of presence. They chip away at courage. They distort our perception of control. The goal is to see clearly, to identify these habits and replace them with practices that strengthen your foundation. Each chapter is a step in that direction. This is not theory. This is training. Let us begin now. Chapter 1, the habit of excusing yourself. The Stoics placed a high value on accountability. They did not allow excuses to become a shield against growth. When you form the habit of excusing yourself, whether for your laziness, your temper, or your inconsistency, you protect your weakness instead of your progress. Excuses create a narrative where you're always the exception. They remove the burden of responsibility and make the fault external. But when you do this repeatedly, you lose your sense of agency. You stop improving. You lower your standards. The excuse becomes more comfortable than the solution. Epictetus taught that we cannot control events, but we can control how we respond. Making excuses shifts the focus away from that power. It encourages passivity. It breeds helplessness. To break this habit, you must develop a form of internal honesty that does not flinch. This kind of honesty does not seek comfort. It does not look for excuses or try to explain things away. It accepts what is real. It sees facts clearly. When you fail, admit it. Say the words out loud or write them down. Do not soften them. Call it what it is. A mistake, a missed responsibility, a poor decision. When you are late, own it. Do not list the reasons. Do not try to make it seem acceptable. Acknowledge the reality. You said you would do something at a certain time and you did not do it. This act of honesty strengthens your word. It builds trust with others. It rebuilds trust with yourself. When you avoid something hard, name it. Do not say you were busy. Say you were unwilling. Say you chose distraction. That naming strips away the illusion. It helps you recognize how your habits shape your life. You cannot grow when you pretend. You cannot get stronger when you deny what is weak. This clarity is not punishment. It prepares you. It gives you the chance to improve with accuracy. It helps you understand your patterns. You do not waste energy defending a false image. You direct your energy into change. The truth becomes a tool, a way forward. The Stoic corrects rather than deflects. They do not pretend. They never fall short. They recognize the gap and then act to close it. They do not speak in vague terms. They face the details. Each day becomes a small test of truthfulness. Did you do what you said you would do? Did you act in line with your values? Did you admit when you were off course? Are you holding yourself to a standard? That question should follow you throughout the day, not as a judgment, but as a guide. A reminder that you are building something. A reminder that progress requires clarity. Are you taking full ownership of your part? Not partial, not shared, but full. Even when others contribute to the situation, you own your role. That ownership gives you power. You know where you can make a change. Strength grows where excuses end. Excuses block movement. They trap you in explanation. When you let them go, you move. You grow, you rise. That is the way forward. Quiet, honest, consistent. The Stoic path is built one admission at a time, one correction at a time, one step closer to the person you are capable of becoming. Chapter 2. The habit of seeking comfort over growth. Comfort is pleasant. It is also dangerous when it becomes a goal. The Stoics did not believe that suffering should be chased, but they understood that too much ease softens the mind. A person who always chooses what is easy becomes dependent. They become less prepared for difficulty and more likely to fold under stress. Seneca warned against becoming too accustomed to luxury. He practiced voluntary discomfort to remind himself that he could endure less. He believed that being able to live simply made you stronger, not weaker. When you always seek comfort, whether through food, entertainment, or distraction, you weaken your resilience. You teach your mind and body to move away from difficulty. You interrupt the process of adaptation. Growth requires resistance. It is built through tension, through work, through facing something that demands more from you than are used to giving. Comfort avoids that process. It gives you relief, but not strength. Comfort becomes a default. You reach for your phone when you feel bored. You turn to food when you feel emotional. You choose distraction when a task feels difficult. These habits offer a moment of escape. Over time, they become patterns. These patterns shape your mind to avoid effort. They lower your tolerance for stress. They make challenges feel heavier than they really are. Comfort becomes a cage disguised as a reward. It feels like rest, but it dulls your awareness. It prevents you from engaging deeply with your life. It locks you in routines that do not challenge you. These routines keep you in a loop. Days pass without growth. Weeks pass without real effort. You begin to crave ease and you begin to fear effort. That fear makes you weaker. To reverse this habit, choose discomfort deliberately. Do not wait for life to force it on you. Put yourself in conditions that sharpen your focus. Wake up earlier than you need to. Allow yourself to be bored without filling the silence. Do one difficult thing each morning before checking your phone. Go without something you think you need just to see that you can. These acts do not break you. They reveal you. Face the task you've been avoiding. Write the message you've delayed. Start the project that has been sitting in your mind. Do it without perfect conditions. Do it without waiting for motivation. Start where you are with what you have. Each small act of effort is a decision to strengthen your will. Speak the truth when silence would be easier. Tell someone what needs to be said, even if it shakes you. Say no when you usually say yes to avoid discomfort. These choices are difficult. They are also necessary. They restore your integrity. They train your mind to remain firm in pressure. Each of these choices reclaims strength. Each act of discipline makes you more prepared for what the world will demand of you. The Stoic does not aim to suffer. They aim to remain capable under all conditions. To do that, they practice discomfort with intention. A Stoic uses comfort wisely, but does not depend on it. They enjoy peace without becoming fragile. They use ease as a tool for recovery, not as a lifestyle. Their peace is internal, not circumstantial. They learn to remain calm in pressure and still in noise. This is not a gift, it is a habit. They train their body and mind to adapt, not retreat. They choose routines that build durability. They shape their environment to support focus. They spend their time in ways that strengthen them. They do not wait for life to change. They change how they show up in life. The less you fear discomfort, the more freedom you gain. You are no longer a servant to ease. You can say no to what weakens you. You can endure what sharpens you. This freedom gives you the power to act in any condition. It gives you clarity. It gives you edge. It gives you the ability to stand firm when others fall. Chapter 3. The habit of emotional overreaction. Reacting is different from responding. A reaction is immediate and uncontrolled. A response is deliberate. The Stoics trained themselves to pause, observe, and decide. They believed that unchecked emotion clouds judgment and leads to poor choices. When anger, jealousy, or panic dictate your behavior, you lose clarity. You say things you regret. You make decisions you later question. You become reactive, unstable, and unpredictable. This is a form of weakness. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This power begins with attention. You notice the rise of emotion, but you do not let it steer you. You acknowledge it without obeying it. This does not mean suppressing emotion. It means holding it with discipline. Emotion is part of human experience. Anger, sadness, fear, and frustration arise for a reason. The Stoics did not deny these feelings. They trained themselves to work with them carefully. They observed emotion without surrendering to it. This creates space between stimulus and response. That space is where strength is formed. You let emotion pass through you, not rule over you. This requires presence. You stay aware of what you feel, but you do not act on the first impulse. You resist the urge to lash out or to escape. You sit with discomfort without letting it distort your actions. You create a boundary between your feelings and your behavior. Each time you respond instead of react, you strengthen your control. You show your mind that it can remain steady even when pressure rises. You teach yourself that intensity is not danger. You gain confidence in your ability to stay grounded. This is how emotional discipline is built through repetition, to pause, through decision. To practice this, start with small moments. Do not wait for major crisis. Begin when you feel a quick surge of irritation, when something small feels like an offense, or when you feel the need to correct someone sharply. These are training grounds. Notice when you feel irritated, do not justify it or try to suppress it. Just name it silently. Say, "This is irritation." That naming brings awareness. It interrupts the automatic loop. It places you in the position of the observer. Pause. Breathe slowly. Focus on the breath moving in and out of your body. This slows down the nervous system. It gives your rational mind to engage. Emotion often acts fast. Slowing down allows clarity to enter. Speak slower. Lower your voice if you are speaking. Choose your words with care. Ask yourself what the situation really requires. Is it silence? Is it a question? Is it a calm explanation? The words you choose are tools. Use them precisely. Let silence be your strength when words would escalate. There is power in restraint. A moment of quiet can prevent a chain of regret. You do not have to answer immediately. You do not have to prove a point. You can wait. You can observe. You can choose stillness. Over time, this becomes your default. It becomes the way your mind responds. Calm replaces chaos. You stop being easily shaken. You stop surrendering your peace to every offense. You carry yourself with steadiness in tense moments. That steadiness makes you reliable. It builds trust. It allows you to remain useful in situations where others lose control. Clarity replaces impulse. You see the situation clearly because you are not consumed by reaction. Your mind is no longer driven by urges. It is directed by understanding. Emotion may still arise, but it does not distort your perception. You are able to step back and observe events with distance. You do not get pulled into every conflict. You begin to notice patterns. You can see where tension builds and how choices shape outcomes. You can identify what matters. You stop reacting to every slight or inconvenience. You stop letting your emotions override your values. When a situation unfolds, you are able to sort through what is important and what is noise. This separation helps you make better decisions. It reduces regret. It reduces damage to your relationships and to your sense of self. You can speak with intention. You say only what needs to be said. You remove exaggeration, blame, or emotional spikes from your words. You speak slowly, clearly, and only when it adds something useful. You stop needing to have the last word. You stop using speech as a weapon or a defense. Your language reflects your control. It reflects your values. It keeps the situation grounded. You can act with restraint. You do not swing back when you feel attacked. You do not raise your voice when others lose theirs. You remain in control of your body and voice. You act based on reason, not on the pull of your mood. This ability creates space around you. It creates a presence others feel. That presence is calm. That calm earns respect. This ability is developed, not granted. It is not based on personality. It is based on practice. It is built through small daily decisions. You decide to stay silent when you want to interrupt. You decide to walk away when you want to argue. You decide to breathe when you feel tension rising. These small moments build discipline. It is built through daily effort. Each situation gives you another chance to train. The training happens when no one is watching. It happens in ordinary conflicts, in silent frustrations, in long waits, and in quiet discipline. You fail sometimes. That is part of the work. What matters is that you return to the practice. You sharpen the same tool over and over until it becomes part of how you operate. The Stoic sharpens this ability because they know that a person who controls their emotions controls their life. They see how many choices are ruined by impatience, anger, envy, and pride. They understand that leadership, clarity, and strength all begin with self-control. When the mind is calm, the path forward becomes visible. When the emotions are stable, the decisions are clean. This kind of discipline creates consistency. It gives you a reliable way to navigate both calm and chaos. You are not shaken by moods. You are not driven by fear. You remain steady. That steadiness is what allows you to make progress over time. It is what keeps your character intact when others lose theirs. It is what sets apart the person who merely reacts from the person who leads. Chapter 4. The habit of seeking approval. The Stoics saw the pursuit of praise as a form of bondage. When your peace depends on what others think, you are never free. You act for their applause. You speak for their agreement. You adjust yourself to fit their expectations. This is not strength. It is dependence. Epictetus advised, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This is not a call to isolation. It is a reminder that growth often makes you misunderstood. Seeking approval makes you dishonest with yourself. You hide parts of your nature. You betray your values for validation. The habit of seeking approval weakens your integrity. It scatters your identity. You become what pleases others, not what anchors you. The Stoic anchors in principle, not popularity. They do what is right, not what is rewarded. To shift this habit, practice doing good work without recognition. Say what you believe without over-explaining. Let silence follow your decisions without needing applause. Pay attention to your motives. Are you acting from values or for validation? A strong person is not afraid to be alone with their convictions. They do not shift their principles to gain approval. They do not change their message to gain support. They remain firm even when others misunderstand them. They do not wait for agreement to act on what they believe is right. They are guided by their values, not by the opinions around them. They are willing to face disapproval. They are willing to be questioned, ignored, or even rejected. Their peace does not depend on external validation. They have trained themselves to remain stable in the face of judgment. This strength allows them to be consistent. It gives them the ability to move forward with purpose regardless of what others say. They do not see silence or disagreement as a threat. They understand that conviction can create friction. They accept that doing what is right may not always be recognized or praised. They accept that living with integrity sometimes means walking a quieter road. They see this path as worth walking. Approval may come, but it is not the purpose. It is not the goal that shapes their words or choices. It is not the measure they use to evaluate their progress. When approval does appear, they acknowledge it without needing it. They receive praise without becoming attached to it. When approval is withheld, they do not collapse. Their actions remain steady. The reward is the clarity of knowing you stayed true. You did not alter yourself to be accepted. You did not hide what you believed to avoid conflict. You did not bend your values to avoid discomfort. You remained aligned with what you know to be right. That alignment brings clarity. It brings peace. It gives you the quiet confidence of someone who lives in integrity. This clarity cannot be given by others. It comes from within. It comes from consistency, from daily choices, from doing what you said you would do. It grows through effort. It grows when you hold your line while others shift theirs. It grows when you stand still in a room that tells you to move. The Stoic does not chase approval. They build their character in silence. They build their courage in private decisions. They build their strength in actions that are unnoticed by the crowd. This is the kind of strength that lasts. It does not depend on recognition. It depends on the discipline to live according to what matters. Chapter 5. The habit of avoiding hard conversations. Avoidance does not prevent discomfort. It delays it and often amplifies it. When you avoid hard conversations, whether about boundaries, responsibilities, or mistakes, you allow problems to grow. They grow in silence, in assumptions, and in misunderstandings. What could have been addressed early becomes more complex. Avoidance creates tension that eventually surfaces in frustration, distance, or conflict. The Stoics viewed truth as essential. They believed that clarity is a form of care. When you speak with honesty, you make things visible. You give yourself and others a chance to respond in alignment with reality. Hard conversations are not about confrontation. They are about alignment. They restore order to situations that have drifted. They allow both people to see what is actually happening instead of what they hope or assume. These conversations clarify roles, correct imbalances, and reduce the space for resentment to grow. They reset expectations so that future interactions are cleaner. Avoiding them allows confusion and tension to remain over time. This weakens the relationship. It also weakens your relationship with yourself. You begin to feel out of sync with your values. You begin to tolerate what you know should be addressed. Avoiding hard conversations erodes self-respect. You teach yourself to stay silent when something important needs to be said. You allow discomfort to set the boundary of your behavior. Each time you avoid the truth, you lose some clarity. The fear behind avoidance is often discomfort. You do not want to offend, upset, or create tension. But discomfort is not harm. It is the signal that you are approaching something important. It means the issue matters. It means the relationship has reached a point that requires attention. The Stoic does not flee from that feeling. They meet it with steadiness. They choose presence over retreat. To build this habit, begin with preparation. Do not walk into the conversation without knowing your intention. Know what matters before you speak. Clarify the issue in your mind. Do not let the discussion be shaped by emotion or recent frustrations. Identify the core of the issue. Write it down if needed. This helps you avoid drifting or becoming reactive. It allows you to separate the main concern from unrelated tensions. Decide what the issue is. Be specific. Is it about a boundary being crossed? A responsibility not upheld? A decision that was made without communication? Vague conversations create confusion. Precise language creates resolution. The more clearly you define the issue, the more likely you are to communicate it calmly. Choose a time when both people are not in a reactive state. Avoid speaking when emotions are already elevated. Timing shapes tone. A calm environment helps maintain presence. It lowers the chance of escalation. Do not raise difficult topics in passing. Create space where both people can focus and listen. Speak with calm. Do not rush your words. Let your tone reflect your values. Do not bring in frustration, sarcasm, or blame. Stay grounded in what is true. Speak in a way that shows you are trying to understand, not attack. Calm communication creates cooperation. Do not bring extra emotion into the room. A hard conversation is already heavy. Keep the weight focused on the issue. If emotion arises, breathe and return to the facts. Let your tone carry purpose, not pressure. Speak directly. Be honest. Do not aim to impress. Aim to be understood. Focus on what is true and necessary. Avoid making the conversation about everything that has gone wrong. Keep to the specific concern. Avoid exaggeration. Do not try to win the argument. The purpose is clarity, not judgment. You are trying to bring the situation back into balance, not assign blame. Do not bring up unrelated points. Do not stack old issues on top of new ones. This only creates confusion and weakens the chance of real change. Stay grounded in the present issue. Deal with one concern at a time. Respect the clarity that structure brings. Let the other person respond without trying to control their reaction. You are responsible for your words. You are not responsible for how they are received. You must speak with care, but you must also allow the other person's space to feel. Let them respond without interruption. Do not force agreement. Let the moment breathe. Listen with attention. Do not plan your next reply while they are speaking. Let their words land. Let their tone guide your understanding. If something is unclear, ask questions. If something is valid, acknowledge it. Listening with care builds trust. It also sharpens your own clarity. Let silence be part of the exchange. Pauses allow for reflection. They give the conversation time to settle. Do not rush to fill every moment with words. Do not try to force the outcome. Let space allow both people to think clearly. Let the moment settle before continuing. Stillness supports clarity. If the conversation becomes difficult, return to what matters. Repeat the core issue. Stay steady in your tone. Let the words serve the solution. Speak clearly. Stay steady. Keep your emotions grounded. If needed, pause the conversation and return later with the same intention. The goal is clarity, not control. You are not trying to dominate or convince. You are not trying to be right. You are trying to express what is true. You are trying to restore alignment. That requires accuracy. It requires self-restraint. It requires letting go of the need to win. When you speak with this intention, the outcome becomes more grounded. You do not leave confusion behind. You do not speak out of pride or fear. You communicate from a place of principle. Your goal is not to manipulate. Your goal is to clarify and repair. That goal is strong enough to guide the entire conversation. Each time you have the conversation you wanted to avoid, you build courage. You strengthen your ability to face discomfort. You learn how to hold your posture in moments of pressure. You see that your mind can remain stable when things become tense. This shows you what you're capable of. You show yourself that you can remain composed in discomfort. That confidence builds over time. You gain experience in staying clear. You prove to yourself that your peace is not tied to silence. You act on your values even when it's uncomfortable. That choice builds respect. You learn that honesty does not break trust. It often restores it. You realize that silence builds resentment. Words spoken in truth restore understanding. People may not always agree with what you say, but they begin to respect how you say it. You begin to respect how you carry it. You realize that you are capable of facing what matters. You see that your fear of conflict was often worse than the conversation itself. You learn that presence in hard moments improves every part of your life. You learn to respect yourself for acting on your values instead of hiding from tension. You build presence. Your energy becomes more steady. People begin to sense it. They trust that you will say what needs to be said. They see that you are not shaken by discomfort. They begin to see you as someone who values truth. That reputation is earned through repetition. They recognize that you are someone who speaks when something must be said. You develop a voice that carries weight not because of volume, but because of clarity. That presence becomes part of your character. It becomes part of your discipline. They learn that you do not hide behind silence, that you do not avoid what is uncomfortable. They know that you will communicate when something matters. That steadiness makes you someone people turn to. It makes you someone who brings order where there is tension. That presence is valuable. It creates trust. It reduces confusion. It sharpens direction. It builds relationships that are built on honesty. It allows for decisions to be made without resentment. It creates teams, families, and friendships that can handle truth. You become someone others can trust, and you become someone you can trust. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop carrying the anxiety of avoidance. You stop rehearsing conversations in your mind that you never have. You step into what is real. That choice strengthens your character. You stop doubting yourself for staying silent. You stop wondering if you are betraying your values. You start living in a way that reflects what you believe. You begin to experience the peace that comes from alignment. Your words match your values. Your actions reflect your principles. This is how the Stoic practices communication with intention, with courage, and with clarity. They do not speak often, but when they speak, it is with purpose. They make discomfort a tool for growth. They speak to bring order, not to win arguments. Their words create strength. Their clarity becomes a source of calm. This is what it means to communicate with discipline. Chapter 6. The habit of overconsumption. The Stoics practiced moderation as a form of strength. They believed that excess weakens the body and the mind. It softens judgment and blurs the distinction between what is necessary and what is indulgent. When you consume without restraint, whether it's food, entertainment, information, or material possessions, you dull your awareness. Your ability to recognize what is meaningful diminishes. You become distracted, overstimulated, and less capable of focusing on what truly matters. Over time, overconsumption leads to dependency. You begin to expect constant stimulation. You reach for entertainment during quiet moments. You look for external input every time you feel slightly bored or uncertain. Silence becomes uncomfortable. Stillness feels unfamiliar. Simplicity feels empty. These responses are learned through habit. The more you indulge without intention, the harder it becomes to remain centered without distraction. You seek escape in excess rather than clarity and discipline. This drains your energy and divides your attention. You lose the ability to concentrate on a single task. You forget what it feels like to be mentally still. This creates mental noise that leaves little space for reason. Seneca warned of being owned by what you think you own. He observed how attachments to possessions, comforts, and routines can quietly take control of a person's will. Each object, each indulgence, each habit that fills your time begins to claim part of your mind. Your space becomes cluttered, your time becomes scattered, and your thinking becomes disorganized. When your environment is cluttered, your thinking becomes cluttered. Each item demands attention. Each choice without discipline weakens your structure. When your schedule is packed with unnecessary consumption, your priorities lose shape. You begin to follow habit instead of intention. You forget why you began certain routines. You follow momentum instead of direction. To shift this habit, begin with reduction. Start small. Identify what is truly useful and remove what is not. Remove what does not serve a clear purpose. Create space. Clear your physical environment. Clear your calendar. Clear your digital inputs. Practice choosing less. Choose food that nourishes instead of food that distracts. Eat slowly. Notice how much is enough. Choose one source of information to study deeply rather than scrolling endlessly across many. Choose stillness over stimulation when you feel restless. Learn to sit in the quiet rather than immediately reaching for noise. These choices clear the ground for stronger habits. They free mental space for reflection and allow deeper focus. Limit what you expose yourself to, not to avoid life, but to live it more deeply. Unfiltered input weakens the mind's ability to concentrate. Each moment of silence becomes a chance to think. Each pause becomes an opportunity to reflect. Each item removed becomes space regained. Each moment without distraction becomes a chance to reconnect with clarity. Each choice to stop consuming becomes a step toward mastery. It is in the act of deliberate reduction that the mind learns to think clearly and the body learns to respond with discipline. A Stoic trains their appetite. They learn to recognize the line between need and desire. They do not aim for denial but for command. They do not avoid enjoyment, but they do not surrender to it. They eat with restraint. They speak with thought. They engage with their environment mindfully. They listen with attention. They act with care. They let their needs guide their actions, not their cravings. They stay aware of how much is enough. They value presence more than abundance. This approach sharpens awareness. It creates clarity. It builds endurance. Moderation is not a restriction. It is a return to balance. It removes the burden of excess. It returns the mind to simplicity and the body to strength. It is the discipline to know when you have had enough. It is the judgment to stop when stopping serves your focus. It is the courage to resist what distracts from your deeper purpose. When you stop consuming what you do not need, you recover focus. You direct your energy toward what matters. You slow down your mind and engage your senses. You begin to act with intention rather than habit. That intention becomes the source of strength. It allows for clearer choices, better use of time, and greater peace within your daily life. This is the kind of strength the Stoics cultivated. Quiet, steady, built through restraint. Chapter 7. The habit of avoiding solitude. Many people fill their time to avoid being alone with their thoughts. They seek distraction through constant social activity, entertainment, or tasks. They avoid silence because silence reveals what is unresolved. The Stoics valued solitude. They saw it as a tool to sharpen the mind and examine life. Marcus Aurelius wrote often in solitude. His reflections were private notes to himself. Through solitude, he clarified his thinking. He measured his actions against his values. He created order in his mind through honest self-dog. This practice helped him rule not just an empire, but himself. Avoiding solitude means missing that opportunity. You never see your thoughts clearly. You never sort through your fears, your motives, your mistakes. You carry confusion without realizing it. Constant company can create noise that prevents personal clarity. You become shaped by what others think before understanding what you think. To break this habit, create space for solitude daily. This does not require hours. A few minutes in the morning or evening can be enough. Sit quietly. Breathe. Let the mind settle. Reflect on your actions. Review your day. Ask yourself what you avoided, what you did well, what you need to adjust. This becomes your time to recalibrate. Do not bring a phone. Do not turn on music. Let the quiet guide your attention inward. Let discomfort rise without running from it. Let questions form and remain unanswered for a while. This stillness builds depth. It builds strength. A Stoic uses solitude as preparation. They become less reactive, more centered. They enter conversations with clarity. They act with awareness. Their solitude is not isolation. It is a tool of reflection. It gives them the insight needed to live deliberately. Time alone sharpens the inner voice. It reveals what is solid and what is noise. When you stop avoiding solitude, you begin hearing your mind clearly. That clarity becomes your compass. It keeps you steady in distraction. It brings you back when you drift. Chapter 8. The habit of passive consumption of information. In the modern world, information is everywhere. It arrives fast and without pause. If you are not careful, you begin to consume it without reflection. You read without questioning. You listen without thinking. You adopt opinions without testing them. This creates a shallow mind, scattered and uncertain. The Stoics were deliberate in what they studied. They read with focus. They reflected deeply. They applied ideas to life. Knowledge was not entertainment. It was a tool for action. They asked, "What does this teach me? And how can I live this today?" Passive consumption trains your mind to skim, not to understand. You move from one idea to the next without applying any of them. You become overwhelmed by volume and disconnected from depth. This habit leaves you informed but unchanged. To shift this, slow down. Choose fewer sources. Choose authors and thinkers who challenge you. Read slowly. Take notes. Pause after a paragraph. Ask questions. Reflect on how the idea connects to your day, your values, your responsibilities. Apply what you learn. Do not move on until you've practiced the principle. Give it time to settle into your actions. Test it through real situations. If you read about courage, ask where you avoided it today. Did you stay silent when something needed to be said? Did you retreat when you were called to act? Examine where fear influenced your choices. Look at how often you chose comfort over confrontation or clarity. If you study patience, observe your behavior in delay. Watch yourself in line. Listen to your tone when things don't move at your pace. Notice your internal reactions when plans change or people take longer than expected. Do you respond with composure or with irritation? Patience is tested in small everyday moments. That is where you can track progress. If you reflect on truth, examine how you speak. Look at your words during pressure. Ask whether you exaggerated, withheld, or avoided clarity. Measure how often you say what you mean without distortion. Consider whether your words matched your values or if they served your emotions. Truthfulness is not only about accuracy, it is about consistency between your beliefs and your speech. This approach builds wisdom, not just knowledge. Wisdom grows through application. It becomes visible in how you respond under stress, how you organize your day, how you interact with others. Wisdom changes behavior. It replaces confusion with structure. It reshapes how you make decisions. It strengthens character by building consistency between your inner understanding and your outer actions. It removes confusion. It clears mental noise that comes from knowing many things, but doing none of them well. When your learning is put into action, you reduce internal conflict. Your decisions become more aligned with your principles. You stop second-guessing yourself because you begin to act from clarity. It brings your actions into alignment with your beliefs. That alignment creates confidence. You trust your decisions more. You no longer live in contradiction. You begin to see progress not just in thought, but in your daily conduct. You stop searching for the next idea and start deepening the ones that already matter to you. Passive learning creates the illusion of growth. It feels productive. It feels like forward movement. But nothing changes. Your habits stay the same. Your reactions stay the same. You consume knowledge without letting it reach your character. Applied learning creates real growth. It transforms insight into habit. It forms new patterns. It creates a structure that supports disciplined living. The Stoic reads to live better. They are not gathering ideas for debate or display. They are reading to shape the way they carry themselves in the world. They study to act better. Each passage becomes a tool for self-examination. Each principle becomes a mirror to evaluate daily conduct. They ask what they need to do, not just what they need to know. They engage with philosophy to sharpen their mind and clarify their choices. They use reflection to cut through confusion. They use repetition to build skill. They connect ideas with real behavior. They return to the same teachings often, not for novelty, but for depth. They look at the same sentence until they see something new in it, and then they live it. This requires effort, but it builds strength. It demands consistency and attention. You must resist the pull towards speed and quantity. You must choose to engage deeply with fewer ideas and test them in real conditions. This repetition develops internal discipline. It sharpens your attention. It strengthens your ability to stay focused when distractions are near. Strength does not appear instantly. It is shaped through small decisions repeated over time. It replaces distraction with focus. You stop chasing novelty. You stay with a principle long enough to understand it, question it, and live it. That focus becomes a tool. It allows you to go deeper where others stay shallow. You no longer scatter your attention across too many sources. You begin to protect your time and your mind. It replaces drift with direction. Without application, learning can become aimless. With practice, every lesson has a path. You know what you are working toward. You become more deliberate in how you respond, in how you choose, and in how you spend your time. Your days have shape. Your energy has purpose. It removes noise from the mind. When you live what you study, your thinking clears. You no longer carry excess ideas that you never apply. You no longer wonder if you are making progress. You begin to see it in your posture, in your speech, in your presence. The constant pressure to consume fades. The mind becomes quieter, more ordered, more effective. It creates a focused mind trained to act with purpose in a noisy world. That kind of mind does not depend on perfect conditions. It can think clearly in stress. It can choose carefully in chaos. It becomes reliable. It becomes steady. It becomes a source of direction in uncertain situations. That kind of mind can lead itself. It does not wait for motivation. It does not react to every change. It follows principle. It moves according to what matters. It checks itself regularly. It holds its own standard. It can remain steady in uncertainty. It does not collapse when the outcome is unclear. It stays rooted in values. It measures effort, not applause. It stays present in difficulty. This steadiness creates durability. It allows for progress even when things are unstable. It becomes a tool for action and a guard against weakness. It strengthens your ability to direct your behavior instead of reacting to impulses. A disciplined mind gives you stability in moments that test your patience, your values, or your purpose. You are less likely to abandon your principles under pressure. You are more capable of stepping back, assessing clearly, and acting with control. This allows you to carry out decisions that serve your long-term aims rather than short-term relief. The disciplined mind protects your time, your attention, and your energy. You start treating each of those as resources to be managed. You stop giving your focus to whatever demands it. You choose what to engage with and when. This selectivity preserves your energy for meaningful tasks. You stop wasting effort on reaction, distraction, or conflict that has no purpose. It allows you to respond with purpose. Your decisions are shaped by internal values rather than external noise. You are able to pause and ask what is needed, what serves the situation, and what reflects your principles. This ability builds reliability. People begin to trust your presence. They see that you do not shift with every mood or trend. It prevents waste. It helps you see when a conversation is going nowhere. It helps you recognize when to stop explaining, when to listen more, or when to walk away. You stop giving attention to things that drain your strength. You stop chasing outcomes that are out of your control. This clarity saves time and reduces regret. It makes you stronger through consistent alignment. Strength is the result of discipline repeated over time. Each time you act in line with what you know is right, you strengthen your ability to do so again. That repetition shapes character. It turns principles into habits. It trains your judgment. You learn how to stay calm in stress, firm in delay, and useful in difficulty. This is the aim of Stoic training. Consistent application, grounded thought, and strength made visible through choice. Each decision becomes part of the structure you are building. Each moment of discipline adds to your foundation. You are not aiming to appear strong. You are aiming to be strong through repeated quiet action. This is how the Stoic builds a life, through effort, through clarity, and through the steady replacement of weakness with strength. Chapter 9. The Habit of Complaining. Complaining is a release of frustration without action. It spreads discontent and weakens resilience. It focuses attention on what is wrong while removing attention from what can be done. The Stoics viewed complaining as wasted energy. When you complain, you rehearse powerlessness. You describe what bothers you without moving toward a solution. You create a story where you are a victim of your circumstances. This story becomes familiar. It gives you comfort, but it costs you control. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that obstacles are opportunities. The mind can convert difficulty into training. Complaining skips that step. It focuses on the obstacle and ignores the response. It forms a habit of resentment rather than problem solving. To shift this habit, begin by noticing your language. Catch yourself when you start to complain. Pause. Ask, what can I do about this? If there is an action, take it. If there is no action, practice acceptance. Let the moment pass without adding complaint. Use frustration as information. It tells you where you feel out of control. Let that signal guide you. Either change the condition or change your posture toward it. Either way, you regain clarity. The Stoic does not deny problems. They face them. They do not waste words reinforcing what is already known. They direct their effort toward correction. This mindset builds confidence. It keeps the attention on what strengthens. When you remove the habit of complaining, you create space for responsibility. You stop speaking from emotion and start speaking from principle. Your presence becomes calming, your actions become clear, your influence increases. Complaining may bring sympathy. It never builds strength. Strength comes from moving forward, from doing what must be done without needing attention, from accepting what is outside your control and acting on what is within it. That posture defines the Stoic. That posture makes you strong. Weakness is not always loud. Sometimes it hides in comfort. Sometimes it speaks in excuses. Sometimes it wears the mask of distraction, complaint, or silence. The Stoic trains to remove these layers not through shame, but through clarity. Each habit discussed is a point of practice. Each chapter is a lens to examine your behavior. Begin with one, apply it, reflect on it, watch yourself change. The Stoic path is not about perfection. It is about direction. Replace what weakens you with what strengthens you. Replace overreaction with discipline. Replace distraction with presence. Replace passivity with courage. Do this daily, quietly, steadily. Let your strength be proven in action. This is the Stoic way. It begins by removing what does not serve you. It continues by practicing what builds you. And it ends each day with a mind more clear, a character formed, and a life more aligned with principle. A music.